It is with deep sadness that I can confirm the tragic death of a member of our nursing staff, Jacintha Saldana. Jacintha has worked at the King Edward VII Hospital for more than 4 years. She was an excellent nurse and well respected and popular with all of her colleagues.
The official statement from officials at King Edward VII Hospital, London, responding to the death of nurse Jacintha Saldana by apparent suicide. She was the on-duty nurse for Kate Middleton, who was suffering from extreme morning sickness. Kate's nurse. The story generating international headlines after 2 Australian DJs, Mel Greig and Michael Christian, duped her into releasing private information about the Duchess of Cambridge's condition. It was a prank, radio prank, and it's become a huge controversy. Here's an edited snippet for you to make your own decision on what happened here.
Here's the thing. We've been handed a phone number, all right? And we have been told that this phone number is the hospital where Kate Middleton is currently staying. Now, we thought we'd give it a call. We don't want to cause any trouble.
Yeah.
We don't want to stress her out because she's doing it tough.
Yep.
But I reckon we can maybe get her on the radio tonight. You are going to be the Queen.
This is awesome.
I'm going to be Prince Charles.
Hello, I'm the Queen.
Number's going in. Oh, jeez, I hope this happens.
Hello, good morning, King Edward VII Hospital.
Oh, hello there. Could I please speak to Kate, please, my granddaughter?
Oh, yes, just hold on.
Thank you.
What about this one?
Kate, my darling, are you there?
Good morning, Mum. This is the nurse speaking. How may I help you?
Hello, I'm just after my granddaughter, Kate. I want to see how her little tummy bug is going.
She's been getting some fluids to rehydrate her because she was quite dehydrated when she came in.
Okay, I'll just feed my little corgis then. So when is a good time to come and visit her? Because I'm the Queen, so I need a lift down there.
I would suggest that any time after 9 o'clock would be suitable because the doctor will be in the morning.
Okay. Is Will's still there? Has he gone home? I haven't spoken to him yet.
He went home at about 9:30 actually probably about 9 o'clock last night.
Okay. Lovely. But they're all okay? Everything's all right?
Yes, she's quite stable at the moment. She hasn't had any retching with me since I've been on duty.
My dear, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
I'm a radio guy. It felt fairly lame to my ear. But anyway, the 2 DJs have been vilified in this tragic hoax. Turned out to become tragic, getting public scorn, even death threats. They've come out to express that they were shattered, gutted, heartbroken. Actually, they are over the death of the nurse. The key question is, are they responsible? Is this bad prank really responsible for a death? The radio station bosses are standing behind them in support for now. Do they deserve punishment, either from the public or from the radio station that employs them? Or is the whole idea simply absurd? For more, we turn to Menzoid Mornings, host of Menzoid Mornings, David Menzies. Just want to clarify one thing. The show is in suspension for now, may be canceled. I don't want to focus too much on where that show goes because I really don't give a damn. What I care about here is this idea that someone takes a life, that this nurse took her own life, and the world is being told that the reason she took her life is because of the shame she felt, and therefore the Aussies are responsible. We talk about personal responsibility here all the time. Obviously, it's horrible that someone died. I'm not going to pretend that isn't the worst thing that could ever happen. But something even worse than that is us making our brains atrophy by pretending that a radio bit is what mental illness is all about, and it could have happened to anybody, and it's all about radio.
You're absolutely right, Charles. The idea that anyone is to blame is ridiculous. This was a harmless radio prank. They got through to a nurse, and she talked in general conditions about conditions of morning sickness, and no even private information was revealed. And it leads to a few questions I have. For one, do we know everything about this nurse that we should? In other words, were there other issues in her life that were going on that maybe contributed to this apparent suicide? Secondly, there's something about the hospital protocol. Charles, when you have heads of state, the royal family, when it's a matter of getting in touch with the proper people, there is typically some kind of a code word. So I'm just wondering if that fell by the wayside at this particular hospital, which has a specialty for treating royals. And third, I'm just wondering if what was the reaction of her superiors? Maybe the prank came and went, but was she raked over the coals? We don't know. You know, maybe you could almost make the argument the way her bosses treated her, which we really don't know about, is a contributing factor. But the very idea that anyone is to blame for a harmless telephone prank, and this has been the staple of radio for decades, for as long as the medium has been around, Charles, that's preposterous.
It shouldn't be about radio versus mental illness, and you cannot have suicide without mental illness. The idea that suicide is just a knee-jerk choice that someone makes very, very quickly based on a bad experience, I mean, I feel that we're a bunch of ignoramuses if we fall for that. If we fall for that, I mean, that's like falling for a bad radio bit. Now, I realize that because someone died here, people are going out of their way to try to blame somebody other than the person who tragically killed themselves. But that's just politically correct hooey.
Oh, and Charles, the political correctness angle to this story is taking another direction as well, which is, as some have proposed, this kind of prank should be made illegal. That radio and shows in the candid camera milieu should be banned because, my goodness, what if you humiliate somebody to the point where they take their own life? So basically, those who love putting the clampers on free speech, this is another angle for them to pursue down that whole human rights business of privacy and whatnot. No, I mean, Charles, like I said, I think there is probably a lot more to this woman and her life and her state of mind than a simple radio prank. And let's be clear, it harmed nobody. It didn't result in a breach of privacy. It didn't result in people getting divorced. It didn't result in any kind of financial shenanigans. This was a completely harmless prank. And the idea that these DJs are getting vilified, and by the way, I should tell you, Charles, from what I know of the radio business, when this prank originally went viral and around the world, I can bet you the station manager came in and said, you know what, great job, guys. I'm going to take you out to lunch tomorrow. There's going to be something a little extra in your Christmas bonus. And when the suicide happened, that same station manager, I have no doubt, went, whoa, you're on your own, guys.
The radio company has very little credit on this if they try to wear the hair shirt and talk about how embarrassed they are, ashamed they are, anything else, because they were promoting the hell out of this thing when it happened. They thought this was a huge coup. But what you said at the beginning is what's most salient here. We don't know anything about her.
Yep.
We know name, rank, and serial number. To leap to ridiculous conclusions that two DJs thousands of miles away are responsible for someone's suicide when you know nothing about the person who's committed suicide is rather creepy. I mean, that's like someone commits suicide on a day where it's been raining and you blame the weather. Okay, let me go on to something else here. Very much here at home, very much in your bailiwick and in your own area. Very close to Richmond Hill, which is the center of your universe. The Liquor Control Board of Ontario, LCBO, and whether or not it should be privatized. Now, you've got a kind of a thing going on, an interesting dance with the LCBO for a number of years. Here's the question. Should they just resolve the fossil ideology and allow the private sector to determine what gets sold and how much and at what cost?
Of course they should, Charles. And I mean, when you think of what is the role of government, there are things you do want government in. I mean, I want government in the policing business. I want government in the military. But the idea of the government running the booze business, the idea of the government running the casino business, I mean, my goodness, in Ontario, the biggest pimp daddy in the land is the government of Ontario, for goodness sakes. And the biggest lie of all, Charles, against privatization or even allowing some competition into the market, i.e. beer and wine being sold via the convenience stores, is that, oh, the LCBO, it's a cash cow. The millions, the billions it brings in for social programs. What a lot of rubbish. In a privatized system, Charles, as you well know, the booze is still going to be regulated. It's still going to be taxed. You are not giving up a penny. In fact, you're going to be making more, because when you get rid of the liquor control bureaucracy of Ontario, as I like to call it, you're getting rid of tons of six-figure bureaucratic salaries that are on the sunshine list. People that shouldn't even have a job because they have a monopoly. So you're going to be bringing in more money, Charles. And I want to add this. A few years ago, I did a newspaper analysis of the LCBO's annual report. Now, wait till you hear this, Charles. Once you remove the taxation component of LCBO revenues, when you looked at the capital costs and the operating costs for that year, they actually lost more than $30 million. Can you imagine, Charles, a liquor monopoly in the red? Only government could do that.
Well, when you got access to all kinds of cheap hydro and you're losing money or you're having to, anyway, you know where I'm coming from. The public,
it never ends.
The public sector is not a business. And when the public sector gets into business, well, I guess Ralph Klein said it best years ago, something like the public sector's business isn't about being involved in business. It's about creating the right environment for it, providing some infrastructure perhaps, but not running the business.
But Charles, I could go to the zoo.
I gotta run. Thanks so much. Private sector's got me running this thing on time. Thank you so much. David the Menzoid Menzies, host of Menzoid Mornings. He's back tomorrow right here on the Sun News Network.